Hello and welcome to We Poets. My name is Sally Baker and I'm the host of We Poets. We Poets is a poetry show for boys and girls between the ages of 6 and 13. We're also training interns between the ages of 13 and 19. I'm always looking for new youngsters to come and read their poems, and always looking for adult guests to come and tell boys and girls something about their careers. Tonight we have two sisters, Nelsons, and they're going to be reading their poetry, and they're my cousins, and we have a special adult guest, and his name is Mr. Gary Turchin. He is a poet, author, and performer, and he was on We Poets 20 years ago. We Poets has been around for 35 years, so now we're going to hear from Gary. Hi, Gary. How you doing?
How you doing, Sally?
I'm so glad you could come and be my guest tonight.
Great to come back.
Yes. What did you do when you were on We Poets? Did you read a poem or what?
I did. I read some poems, and my daughters did their poems.
Isn't that something?
It's a family affair.
Wonderful. How old are your daughters?
They're 31 years old now.
Isn't that something?
It is something. It's really something.
Did they take their writing talent from you?
Yes, they do. They both are in the writing world in one form or another.
Wonderful. Now, I have a few questions here for you. How long have you been a writer? You already answered that, I guess.
Well, about at least 40 years. I started when I was a kid. I wrote songs and poems when I was a kid. My mother used to read my poems to her friends on the phone. It embarrassed me, so I stopped writing for a while. And then I took up photography, and I started writing words on pictures, and then I just stopped doing the pictures and just started writing words when I was grown up already, and that was about 40 years ago.
Isn't this something? Oh, now, what got you started?
Just my curiosity and my creativity. I was always creative, and I was always looking for ways to express my creativity, and words come to me pretty well, and it's simple. I gave up photography when there was too much technology with it.
Oh, really?
Got bogged down in technology. All I need is a pencil and a paper now.
Uh-huh.
It keeps it simple.
And I happened to be walking by your house one day, and I saw this fence. Could you tell us about that fence?
Yeah, I have a picture of it here. I call it my poetry fence. It's on the corner of McKinley Avenue and Addison Street in Berkeley. And I moved into this house. It's my friend Deborah's house. And I moved in there, and I said, that's a lot of space, perfect place to put some art on there.
That's right.
And so I hung it up and got a lot of attention from people. Everybody stops and reads it. They leave me nice notes. They're very sweet.
Good, good. Have you had any of the poems published?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh. How many poems have you published?
Oh, I don't know. I can't really count that.
Can't really count that.
There's been a lot of poems, a lot of awards, poetry prizes, awards. I don't keep track of the count.
But now you brought some books here, and you're going to read some of your poems tonight, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please be our guest.
Well, I'm going to start with this book I wrote a few years ago called If I Were You. It's a picture book. I also illustrated. And it's kind of a philosophy book. It's kind of a fun book, inspirational book. I call it an inspirational book mostly. It's about life and how to approach life. And I'll read just a few pages of it, just get a feel for it. Starts here and says, if I were you, I'd wake up every morning and I'd say, wow, holy mackerel, amazing. Then I'd put my clothes on backwards, just to make sure I wasn't going in the wrong direction in the first place. If I were you, I'd sit under a nectarine tree in the heat of August, and I'd eat as many nectarines as I could. And someone stopped and said, you know, you're going to get sick. I'd say, well, nobody gets sick of nectarines. If I were you, I'd get a job that didn't feel like a job, because doing it is all I ever wanted to do. And if someone full of importance were to stop and say, you know, eventually you'll have to get a real job, I'd say, well, you know, eventually you'll have to get a real dream. And that's what it's about. It's just little thoughts, little ideas.
Yes, yes. And what age children usually read your books? Your poems?
I actually thought it was going to be for adults, but parents buy it for their... I've had mothers tell me they read it to their toddler and they love it. I don't know if they understand it, but they love it. They love the words. So I call it from 2 to 200.
Good, good. Now, are you invited to go out to schools and senior citizens' places to read your poetry?
I've done a fair amount of that, yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, for about 15 years, I put all my poems together into a show for kids, And I did school assemblies, and I did about 300 school assemblies. I used to tour all over the state of California, basically.
Really?
And between school assemblies and libraries, I did at least 300. And since most schools you do 2 shows, I'd say I've done maybe 800 shows.
Wow. And you just got in your car and drove there?
I created advertising for it, and I can't find it now. Gary T and his poet tree was what I called myself. I had a tree, and I set up this tree, and the fruit of the tree were my poems. And kids would come up and pick the fruit off the tree. Whatever fruit they picked off was the poem I'd share with them then. And we'd have a little conversation, a little, back and forth. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't scripted, and we just had fun.
Oh, great! It
was a great job, best job I've ever had.
Isn't this wonderful? Now, tell us another story here. You had another book here you wanted to show.
This is a book of my more adult-type poetry. It's called Falling Home. And no, it's not upside down. That's exactly the way it is supposed to be. One day I came home and I had this little picture of me. It was one of those photo booth pictures.
Oh, yes.
You know, and it had been on my night table, and it had fallen off, and it was upside down. And I looked at it upside down and I said, I really like it like that. So I made it the cover of my book.
Oh, do you want to read us a poem in there?
I'll read you the opening poem. It's on the first page. It's called Prayer Poem. Writing a poem is like offering a prayer to a God that did not exist until the poem praised it.
How nice, how nice, yes.
I can do one more of these.
Okay. Are you self-published or do you have a publisher?
Well, I have a publisher, Sugartown Press. Mm-hmm. Sugartown Press. Janie Dresser is a wonderful editor, and she started this press. Sugartown is a town up over before the bridge, before the Venetian Bridge. Mm-hmm. She publishes wonderful poetry books. This is called 1,000 Little Irritants. The way mail piles up, the way we argue, the way we fail and keep failing, the way we age and carry grudges, the way we hurt ourselves and each other, the way we smell or others smell, the way we have to wait, the way we have to hurry, the way no one cares, the way we don't care, the way our government doesn't understand, the way our understanding doesn't matter, the way we live or don't live, the way we die or will die. And tomorrow, the sun, like a giant ball of wonder, will bounce up happy and yellow, inventing each day like it's the only thing that matters.
How nice. And this little boy, is this you?
Yes.
You want to show that to the
camera?
camera?
Filled with pictures of me in this book.
Oh, that's cute.
Maybe too many pictures of me in this book.
Oh, about how old were you there?
Oh, God, that's probably about 5 or 6 years old.
Really?
Here's my whole family.
Oh, that's nice. How many? One sister and two brothers?
One sister and one brother and me. 3 kids.
How nice.
2 parents.
And what state did you grow up in?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
The Garden State.
Wonderful. I grew up in Iowa.
Iowa probably had more gardens than New Jersey. We used to joke about it. We called it the garbage state.
Oh.
It's kind of industrial land there in New Jersey.
Good. Now let's see here. Do you illustrate too?
I do. I do some illustration. I illustrated If I Were You. Mm-hmm. I illustrated one other book of mine. And I don't consider myself an illustrator, but I illustrate. Mm-hmm. I don't let things like being an illustrator stop me from illustrating.
Good, good. Now, what are your favorite tools in your writer's toolbox?
It's a good question. The things that I consider my 2 great tools are humor. Mm-hmm. I go for humor. I always go for humor. When there's a chance for a joke, I'm going to use it.
Why not?
And the other is exaggeration. I believe in exaggeration. I believe a writer has to have full permission to exaggerate, to just take things to an extreme. And that helps a lot. So that adds to humor. Exaggeration tends to lead to humor. And not always. It could also lead to tragedy. So I use exaggeration as my number 1 tool, and humor is not so much a tool, but an outlook.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, my next question. Has getting Parkinson's disease affected your writing?
Well, it's actually helped my writing in some ways, because I didn't know how much longer I was going to be able to write. Mm-hmm. And so I started writing intensely for a while. And I had the most productive 10 years of my life, 10 years after being diagnosed with Parkinson's. Most productive period of my whole life. So it's helped me in that way. You know, you're back to the wall, and if you want to have some things you want to do, you better do them now.
You better do it now.
That's how I've been dealing with it.
Could you tell the children who might not know, what is Parkinson's disease?
Parkinson's is a nervous disease, a disease of the nervous system. It's actually in the brain, where the brain stops making dopamine, and dopamine is the way that all our messages that go from our brain to our body, to our muscles and every part of our body. It's an electrical system, electrical circuit, and it stops producing the dopamine. So my brain stopped making dopamine, so that the messages that go to my body and tell my arm to move up or down or in or out don't go through as clearly and cleanly as they naturally do.
I see.
So we take medication that is dopamine in a certain form. It just doesn't work as well as the real stuff, but it helps.
But you're a real inspiration to show us that no matter what your condition is, we always have something to offer. Everybody has something to offer.
I've been determined not to let this stop me from the day I was diagnosed, which is 15 years ago now.
Oh, great. Well, I really commend you.
Thank
You're
you.
doing a good job. Now, what projects or books can we expect to see from you in the next year?
That's a good question. I have a new poetry book coming out called Premedicated Poems, and that should be out in the next 6 months. And I have a novel.
Oh.
I finished a novel, and I've got a publisher, but it's not going to come out till late 2020. It's called The Cracker Jack of Dawn, and it's sort of about baseball and working in a restaurant, as I did when my father owned a restaurant when I was a kid. So that's the milieu, the background to the story. And then I was in a baseball tournament. So this brings my childhood into light.
Wonderful. What position did you play in baseball?
I played pitcher, catcher, first base, mostly over the years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who were your favorite teams? Baseball teams?
Oh, we were Dodger fans when I was a kid.
Dodger fans,
Yeah.
oh yes.
Yankee haters and Dodger lovers.
Oh yeah. How about your restaurant? What kind of food did your father prepare at his restaurant?
It was kind of a New Jersey diner, so it was breakfast and lunch only, and hamburgers and eggs and bacon and corned beef and pastrami and all that yummy stuff.
Food that really stuck to the ribs.
Stuck to the ribs.
Yeah.
Real home food.
Home food. Did your mom work in the restaurant too?
We all worked in the restaurant.
Yeah. What was your job?
My job, I started everything from dishwasher to a cashier. When I was 9 years old, I was cashier. And I was waiter. Everything but cooking. We did everything but cook.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
I wish I'd learned to cook too. They didn't want us to be that was kind of not our job. Cooking.
Oh, that was not your job. Yeah. Well, any advice would you give to our poets that are coming on?
Well, trust yourself. As a writer, you have to learn to trust yourself. Trust the words that come out of your mouth or onto your pen paper. Trust it. Don't let people criticize you. Don't let criticism stop you. And the worst critic is your own self. So if you want to write, you've got to develop confidence. Confidence is really important to writing.
Yes.
You got to feel like you know what you're doing and you're going to get there. Even when you're lost and you don't know how you're going to get there, you don't even know where you're going, you have to have confidence that you're going to get there anyway.
Good, good.
And like writing a novel, you don't know where you're going, and you just got to stick with it and believe you're going to go somewhere and it's all going to make sense in the end.
Okay, well, we're out of time for your segment, but I want to thank you so much. And now we're going to hear from a couple of wonderful poets. They're my cousins, so I know they're going to give a good presentation. This will be their first time on TV.
I can't wait to hear
So
them.
boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, don't turn off those TVs. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to the second half of We Poets. I'm Sally Baker, the host. I would now like to introduce you to my very special poet. Her name is Jasmine Nelson. She's my cousin, and this is the first time she's been on We Poets, and we're going to hear from her sister next. So here we go. Hi, Jasmine.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
I'm good.
I'm so glad you could come and be on We Poets for the first time in 35 years. Tell us something about yourself, please.
I'm a senior at Berkeley High. I take Afro-Haitian dance. I think it's a lot of fun. I think that's really my main focus right now in high school. However, I do want to become a clinical social worker later on. So I'm hoping to move towards that. I'm going to college next year, so that'll be fun.
Good. Have you picked out a college?
Yes, I'm going to Xavier, Louisiana.
And what city in Louisiana?
New Orleans, Louisiana. So,
Oh, that'll be fun. Have you visited there before?
No.
Oh, so Dad and Mom have taken you down there, though, to look over the campus and what have you?
No.
No? That's going to be a big adventure.
Yeah.
Do you think you want to live in a dormitory?
I am. I'm going through the buddy system. I'm going to be rooming with one of my friends.
Good, good. Wonderful. So tell us some more about yourself.
I'm in charge of basically the student activities in the AFAM department at my school, which is the African American Studies department. And I've been through the African American Studies department for all 4 years that I've been in high school. So it's been really nice. And I like it a lot. I do.
What are some of the activities that you plan?
Well, I don't necessarily all plan them, but I am involved in a Black Girls Rise Club, which is a space for Black girls to come and talk to each other and be with one another, and it's a safe place for all of us. Then I am also in, as I said, the African American dance class, and that basically just entails West African dance and Haitian dance put together. I'm planning the Black graduation right now, not planning, but helping with.
Plan.
Yes. And that's been pretty exciting too. So I feel like that's really built me to become a leader.
When's that going to take place?
June 1st.
June 1st. And where's it going to be held?
At Berkeley High.
Berkeley High. What time? I'll have to come.
2.
2 in the afternoon? Oh, good, good, wonderful. So how about extracurricular activities like sports or music?
I don't do any sports.
Can you tell us about the graduation ceremony that's coming up?
Yes, it'll be held June 1st at Berkeley High, and it is the Black grad graduation. Most Black students will be graduating that day, and they'll be getting the sash for big grad, so yeah.
Good. I hope there's a lot of African American students graduating. Yes. Now tell us about some other sports, like do you play basketball or track or?
No, I quit basketball when I started high school. I played all 3 years of middle school, and then I stopped, so yeah.
Do you like to watch sports?
Not necessarily. I'm not that much into sports anymore. So,
Yeah. Have you done any traveling?
No.
Would you like to?
Yeah, I actually would. I would really like to go traveling somewhere.
What countries?
I've been really wanting to go to Japan. That sounds fun.
I'd like to go to Japan too. We took 15 students and went to Paris, France, and filmed We Poets in classrooms in Paris, France. Adnan and I and the 15 students that we took from Berkeley High. And then Adnan and I went to Jamaica for 1 week and filmed We Poets in schools in Jamaica. And that was fun.
That sounds fun.
Now tell us some more about yourself, just anything you want to tell us.
I come from a family of 5. I have 2 older siblings and then 2 younger siblings. I'm the middle child, so I'm probably like stuck in the middle. So yeah, it's not much else, but yeah.
Tell me about that cute little fellow that I saw at the library the other day.
No, that's my nephew.
Oh, he's your nephew?
Yeah.
He's so sweet. How old is he?
He's 1.
1 year old.
Yeah.
Oh, well, when he gets to be older, he can be on We Poets. Now, any advice that you'd like to get out to young people about writing or their careers before we end your segment?
I would say when writing, I feel like you should focus on what you want to write and then just write it out. And just keep writing. And even if it's going on for rambling, just write it. And you can always come back to it to fix whatever you feel like isn't right. But as of the moment, you can write what you're feeling, and I feel like that's the best way to go about it.
Now, my memory's so short. You did read your poem, right?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got a million things on my mind. Did you want to read your poem?
Sure, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You see, I've never been good at goodbyes. Always too early or too late or never at all. Sometimes I stand and picture the letters walking out of my mouth, one by one escaping me. Sometimes I wish myself a tree high enough I can hide in, or an island far enough I can run to. Sometimes I wonder if I dig a hole big enough, could I hide there? From my fears, from my insecurities, my responsibilities, the countless goodbyes never spoken. Sometimes I wish myself into nothing, anywhere but here, stumbling over the broken bones of letters never fixed, unpolished stays and don't goes, packed in a box labeled fragile. But all I have is this apology. I am sorry. You see, I've never been good at goodbyes.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and I know you're going to have that published, and we're going to be hearing great things about you in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Boys and girls, and ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We have one other poet coming on. We'll be back in just a moment. And now we have another pretty young lady. She's going to tell us all about herself and read the poem that she's written. Hi.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
Good.
Good. Tell us how old you are and where you go to school, please.
11.
You're 11 years old. And where you go to school?
Malcolm X Elementary School.
Good. Do you like school?
Mm-hmm.
What are your favorite subjects?
Math and science and writing.
Good for you. What do you like to write about when you do your writing?
Well, she gives us a subject to
A
write.
subject? Good, good. And what have you written for me tonight?
A poem.
What's it about?
Life.
It's about life. Have you given it a title or is it no title?
Summer.
Summer, okay. You want to read it for us, please? Nice and loud. Go ahead, please.
The sun rises, the day ends, then it starts again. The day begins, the sun shines, life begins. Fresh smells in the air. What time of the year? Days are hot, the nights are the same. When the day comes, it's fun and games. Flowers, birds, and bees, the fresh smell of trees. Food, family, friends, fun. And fun. I love the sun. Life is good. Life is great. Summer always puts me in a good mood.
Great, that was a wonderful poem. I'm very proud of you. Have you written other poems for your teacher in the class?
No.
This is your first one?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you could come and be on We Poets tonight. Your first time on TV, huh?
Yes.
Oh, you're doing a real good job. You know, my very first time on TV, when I did my very first show 35 years ago, I was so nervous that I ended the show 10 minutes early. And so they had to play music and show some pictures at for the 10 minutes that I ended the show too early. So that's always natural for people to be nervous when they're on TV. So now, let's talk more about you. What other things do you like to do for fun?
Play games.
What kind of games do you like to play?
Monopoly.
Monopoly, oh, that's good. Do you like to, you have a bicycle?
Yeah.
You like to ride your bike?
Yeah.
You like to roller skate?
No, I don't have roller skates, but I have a skateboard.
Oh, you have a skateboard. Do you always wear your helmet when you're on your skateboard?
Yes.
Oh, that's very important, isn't it? Tell me some more about yourself.
I like basketball.
Are you on a team?
No, not yet.
But I bet you will be. Any other sport that you play?
No.
No? Have you taken any trips anywhere?
Yeah, Texas.
Where'd you go in Texas? What city?
I forgot.
You forgot. What did you do when you were there?
Visited relatives.
Visited relatives, huh? Did you go to the park or the zoo or what?
I swim.
You went swimming?
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been swimming? How many years? Quite a few? I'm afraid to swim. I took swimming lessons, but I never got the hang of it, so I didn't do that. So now, you know, I did want to show a picture of your grandfather, your dad's father. He's my cousin, and I wanted to hold this up to the camera here and show it. This is my cousin, Lewis Nelson, and he passed away about 3 months ago. And Lewis was a wonderful, wonderful cousin, and I know he's looking down from heaven tonight at us, and he's saying he's very proud of you, like I'm very proud of you. And I know your dad sitting in the audience here, he's very proud of his dad, Lewis Nelson. Lewis was a lawyer here in the Bay Area. And when your dad your dad and your aunt were little kids like you, we all went back home to Iowa to visit your dad's grandparents. And we went on the Greyhound bus. And it took us 2 days because I was afraid to fly in the airplane. So we got on the Greyhound bus, and we had our lunch packed. And when we'd stop at different cities, we'd get off the bus and we'd run around the bus so that our feet wouldn't swell, you know. And when we got to Iowa, we didn't have swollen feet. But I'll never forget that. So you must ask your dad about our trip to Iowa when he was your age and about your size. Now, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about you before we end our program?
No.
Well, I want to thank you so very much. And when you go back to school tomorrow, you can tell all your friends that you're going to be on TV. I'll let them know when it's going to air so that they can watch you on TV. And I'm very, very proud of you and very proud of your sister. What are some things you and your sister have done together?
Played.
You play games together?
Mm-hmm.
And does she babysit with you when you were smaller?
I don't know.
You can't remember that, huh? Well, anyway, I want to thank you so very much. You did a wonderful job, and I'd like to have you come again on We Poets. Would you like that?
No.
Oh, you don't want to be on TV again, huh? Okay, well, that's all right. You did a wonderful job. Thank you. And now, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to be on We Poets, if you're a child, please have your mother or your father or your teacher call me, and you could come and be on We Poets. And if you are an adult, like Gary it was earlier tonight, our guest, would like to come and be on our show, please call me. And if you would like to be an intern on We Poets, you must be between the ages of 13 and 19, and you can come and get free training as an intern and be on We Poets. So I hope that you enjoyed our program tonight, and we want to thank you for coming. Let's wave goodbye to our watching audience. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you for watching.